Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how incredibly easy it is to make a half-cut shape card, something like this one, using Canvas Workspace. It's really not complicated whatsoever, and if you just stick with me, I'll show you how. I have Canvas Workspace pulled up now, and this is the download version. And for this half-cut shape card, I'm going to bring in, first of all, a square, which I'll resize to 5 by 10 inches, because my card is going to be a 5 by 5 card. And I've unticked the maintain aspect ratio box there. Then I'll choose what I want to have for my shape, and I think I'll choose this rectangle with the scalloped edge. And I can decide how I want to have that look. I could keep it as is, or I could perhaps change the shape of it like that. And now I'll align it both horizontally and vertically. Then select both of those shapes and group them, and then duplicate them as well. Select both and align them again horizontally and vertically. Now, this one here, one that's already on top, we can ungroup it, and I'll give it some color so that you can see what I'm doing here. So this rectangle here, which is still 5 by 10, I'm going to change it to 5 by 5. So I want it half the size of the rectangle behind, because this is going to be the size of our card. So I can just drag it down till it's 5 by 5, or you can indeed just change it. You want to be sure that it's still aligned at the bottom, which it is. And now I'll select the topper, or the shape, that we're going to be cutting out, or half cutting, and the smaller 5 by 5. Then we'll weld this. I'll give it some more color again. And now I want to go to offset, so that in this version of Canvas Workspace, it's here under Edit, all the way to the bottom. Offset it, and I want to offset it inwardly. So I think I'll stick with 8, and that looks good. Now, in this case, I really don't need to keep the original size here, so I'll just select delete and hit OK. And now I have an offset of that shape. I'm going to repeat this twice, because I want to have triple layer of mats and layers. This time I'm going to leave as is, because I still want to keep that shape underneath. Oh, okay, and then one more time. Okay. now I have these 3 pieces, and I can align them and group them temporarily so that they don't go flying all over the place. So now back to our original with our scallop in the middle. We need to make this into a half cut. So that means we need to open up the path. So select the piece here, and we've got here, this is where we want to cut it. We want to cut it across like that. So with that selected there, and hide your control points, you can see that you don't have as many. So if I want to show all the points, I've got to contend with all these nodes, but I don't need that. I'll just click hide. Now you have 2 options to get rid of these. Well, first thing you need to do is to open the outline. Right? So now this is an open shape instead of a closed shape. We want to get rid of all of this here. You can delete each of those nodes individually by clicking on them, and then it will turn this turquoise blue here and delete it. Or if you want to speed things up just a bit, you can simply drag across all of these, turn them blue like that, and then delete the point, and there is your half cut. So that is actually going to cut out of the center of this card. Now you have 2 options here as well. You can either put in your score lines, or you can just take it to your scoreboard and make your score lines. If you want to use a path tool to make a score line, simply hold down and drag and double click your line, then go to your properties and change the dash pattern from a solid line to a dashed line like that. Then you want to do the same on this end as well. So if you want to do that, then you can. I prefer not to do that because sometimes if you fold it back and forth so many times, those lines can actually start to work through the card and actually, just completely tear it up along that line. Unless you were to do a half cut, but that is much more complicated than it's worth. So I'm just going to zoom back out of here, and I'll delete that. So we have everything we need now. We've got our base that is going to have this shape cut out, and we have these layers which we will then cut out of different papers and piece them in like that. Now you can change the size of this if you want at any time. So if you've made this and you decide, oh, I don't really want a 5 by 5, I'd like a, let's say a 4 by 4, you can simply drag it however you like. You can have this 4 by 8, and it will change everything at the same time. whatever size you want. As long as you've selected all the elements, then you can resize it and it will keep the proportions. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back to my 5 by 10. The other thing to remember is to ungroup these, because if you don't, it's just going to cut them one right after the other in a stack like that. So ungroup those, and then you can place them on your mat. You probably have these in different colors, of course. If you don't want 3 layers, you don't have to. You can have just 2 if you like. Again, it's your choice. So I just need to be sure that everything is within this red dashed line before I send it to my machine and cut it out. So we'll export it and transfer it by the internet, and then that will be waiting for us when we go to the machine and cut out the elements for this half-cut shape card. And one thing I did forget to mention is it's best to go ahead and group this, because it's still 2 separate shapes. So if you bring it onto your machine and you start to move it around, it's going to go out of position. So go ahead and group this, and then I'll send it again. Transfer it, and then I'll be back in just a moment to show you the results. I've cut the card leg out, as you can see here. I've also got all the other mats and layers cut as well. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and put this in my scoreboard. I can score it at 5 inches, or I could simply just do it by hand, because that's such a small space there. It's going to fold over like this, and you'll see that your design is half cut through this card. Add my mats and layers now. So this is the largest of the pieces, so that's going to go on first. You notice, because we've offset this rather than just taking this shape and reducing it in size, because it maintains the curvature that you see here. So that's an important part about the offset. So this is the last piece. This is going to go on the top. This sentiment here, I believe, using the built-in words in the machine, and then offset it as well. So I'm going to glue these 2 pieces together. I have this bag of flowers that I've had for quite a while now. I cut these from some paper, and this was also done on my ScanNCut. So I'm going to have a little play here. Before I start putting these down, I've got some stickles here by Ranger. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over this sentiment here. Just give it a bit of sparkle. Now this will take some time to dry, so you need to be careful in handling the card so that you don't smear this. I am notorious about putting my fingers in things like this, glossy accents as well. Some of these pearls into the center of these flowers. Half cut shape card is finished. I think it's quite lovely. Thank you everyone for coming to watch this tutorial on Brothers Canvas Workspace and how to make a half-cut shaped card. I think you'll agree that it was very quick and quite easy to make. And of course we have our lovely little card to show the end result. I hope you'll have a go at making your own half-cut shaped cards. Just have a play and see what ideas you can come up with. Please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you won't miss out on any future tutorials for the Brother Canvas Workspace. As always, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.